And she asked me a question, and this is the question. Are you being the type of man that you would want to marry your daughters? Then that's when the real work started to happen. That's where I finally started to do more internal work, more personal development, not professional development, because we believe that everything can change like that. And I think it's an optimistic way to look at change and experience more happiness in life. That's it. That's it. And because quite frankly, that's all that matters.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. The ultimate life means different things to different people. And as we're headed into a new year, it's essential that we define our own idea of that ultimate life. Today, we're talking with Dai Manuel. And he has done that in a phenomenal way. And it's his mission, in fact, to positively impact 1 million role models around the globe to lead a fun, emphasize fun, functionally fit life. Today, we'll hear all about how Dai does that and the bold move he made that brought these principles into clear focus for him.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, Dai.
Thank you both. And we'll talk about just an energy from you two coming, just like, I can just feel it. I mean, feel it just coming through, man. I was like, holy, I can see why it's Saturday every day in your house.
Talk about energy. We love yours.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we do.
You make it easy to just try to mirror you. So I'm just trying to keep up. Come on.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind.
Too kind. Hey, let's jump right into it. What's the most powerful question you've ever been asked?
Whoa. Well, if I'm honest, it was 13 years ago, and it came from my wife. Give you a little bit of context. We would have been together for about 10 years at that point. We've been together now going on our 23rd year. And
bravo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we'd been getting together for about 10 years at that point. Both of our girls, our two children, were under the age of 6. So it was 4 and 6 for those two. And their names are Chardonnay and Brie. So
love it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. It was totally intentional. And a couple socialites in the making. But I learned early on, I guess about 17 years old, that I dealt with a lot of social anxiety, and I have most of my life. And mental health has been a struggle here and there. A lot of it stems from in my earlier days, from age 9 to 14. I was very unhealthy. In fact, morbidly obese for a good portion of those years. And as such, there's a lot of negativity in my life. It was me bringing it on myself, and I created that situation based on what I did, and what I did was not very much. I watched a lot of movies, played a lot of video games, and ate a lot of foods that weren't necessarily healthy for me. And you do that for 5 years, almost every day. Well, yeah, the writing is on the wall. It's not necessarily going to be a healthy outcome. But at age 15, I made some shifts, some big mental shifts, especially where I literally took about 2 years, but I realized a new lifestyle, and lost the weight, put on some lean mass, developed some new habits, especially just psychologically speaking. I built up some confidence in myself that I could navigate some changes. But the interesting thing was I got really good at working on the external, didn't do any internal work. Mm-hmm. And at 17, the anxiety, here I was thinking, I got healthy, I got fit. I even got a girlfriend, which was a big motivator, just an FYI, and so I thought, like, wow, okay, I did it. But those anxious feelings didn't go away. I still were there, and I started getting more attention at school. I remember getting invited to different social scenes. I remember going to a couple parties and just being like that, fly on the wall, so to speak, and just not wanting to interact because I didn't know how to. And I remember someone offering me my first drink, my first beer. I remember drinking it. I remember how I started to feel a little bit different. I remember having another one, and then I really felt different. And I started opening up to people, and I noticed that they were responsive. And it was like, wow, it feels really easy to connect with people now. And that instant association hammered down in me right away that, wow, I can be a different person when I drink.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that was a habit that then was perpetuated for the next 15 years. And that relationship with alcohol led to other things that I'm not proud of, narcotic use. Also, in my relationship with my wife, it also led to some promiscuity on my part. And I'll forever be making up for that, And 13 years ago, things came to a head. And I had gone out all night, and man, I had all the tricks, right? I would turn my phone off. Oh, the battery died, babe. Sorry, I lost track of time, and I would just drink more and make my way home somehow. And I remember waking up on the floor the next day beside the bed. I didn't even make it to the bed. Like, embarrassing, to even tell you this. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh. But it's the truth. I came downstairs, it was about 11 a.m. Kids were watching TV in the living room, which was just adjacent the kitchen. My wife was unloading the dishwasher, and I swear everybody in the neighborhood could hear her unloading the dishwasher. Like, she was making a point of I mean, she was waking me up. She was ready to talk. I came down. There was a look in her eye I've never seen. I'd known her for 10 years at that point. I'd never seen that look, at least not towards myself. She waved me over to sit down at the kitchen table. And she proceeded to tell me that this is not an environment I want to raise our kids in any longer. Let's talk about what co-parenting our kids is going to look like moving forward. One of my values is family. And it's one of my biggest drivers in life is family. And all of a sudden I was like, oh boy, I'm going to lose my family. I proceeded to sob. She was sobbing. Kids are like looking back while they're watching Dora. They're like, okay, mom and dad are crying. What is going on? And meanwhile, they're back to Dora the Explorer. I still remember that annoying song. I won't say it because you'll never get it out of your head. But I started to plead with her, asking for one more chance. Like, I didn't want that. I did not want to lose our relationship. I knew that it was something that I cherished, and I didn't want to jeopardize it. And she asked me a question, and this is the question. Are you being the type of man that you would want to marry your daughters?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Perfect question.
Oh my gosh. Like, it was in that moment I felt like I got punched in the nose and kicked between the legs at the same time, like it was just instant. Like,
yeah. What a wise woman. Wow.
Oh, incredibly. I still tell her she's got more brains than our whole family needs. So it's great. So we're all in good hands with Christy. But, she asked that question because she always saw potential in me that I wasn't able to see myself. And I know that was a big part of who she fell in love with too. And but the thing is, I always believed that's who I was too. But yet I had this habit of always going and doing these other things in the name of being social, in the name of burning off steam and trying to de-stress. Like, I would justify my actions left, right, and center. And meanwhile, now I laugh at it because I'm like, man, what was I doing? Like, I'm trying to sell her on that stuff. I mean, am I an idiot? But 13 years ago, I didn't know any better. I'd been drinking like that for 15 years.
Sure.
Big habit, and in that moment, I realized that's who I was being. That's who I was role modeling to my kids. I was saying, this is what a dad is. This is what a husband is. This is what a brother is. This is what a son is. This is what a business owner is, and it was in that moment, I just said, you know what? I want to make a change. And I made a commitment to my family right then and there. But more importantly, I made the commitment to myself first. I was going to go 1 year without drinking. And I told them that. I was like, I'm going to go a year without drinking. I just want another chance. I'm going to show you I can do this. And just, again, context, from age 17 to almost 33, the longest I've ever gone is 1 month.
Right.
I've done the sober January and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
never more than a month. It'd be like, hey,
October.
31. Oh, 31. Where are we going to drink? I never really learned a new habit. And so that was it. I made that commitment. And then that's when the real work started to happen. That's where I finally started to do more internal work, more personal development, not professional development, because I was definitely biased to the latter.
Right.
And so that's sort of what set in motion the last 13 years of change, because at the end of that year, just to be fair, like a lot of changes happened, and we can get into that later. But I remember my wife saying, oh man, you did it. You did a year. And she was like blown away. She's like, still, like to this day, she's just like, I still can't believe you did that whole year. And I remember her saying to me, Dad, do you want to share a bottle of wine on the back deck? Because we used to do that. We'd watch the sun go down and share a glass of wine, and
sure.
And I was like, Christy, so much has happened in the last 12 months. What if I keep going? Well, it's 13 years now, and I'm just,
oh, wow.
Congratulations. Yes. Congratulations.
But I know I could have a drink. I have no problem with that. I'm a very different person today than I was 13 years ago. But
why tempt fate, right?
There's no value there, right? Like I see no value in doing that.
I've got a friend, and we used to party down. I mean, we traveled all over the country together selling houses, and he just quit about 3 or 4 years ago. And I'm like, why'd you quit? And he didn't really have anything revolutionary. He just literally said, I'm never my best self. And I thought it was revolutionary. I just thought, you know what? He's right. I mean, like, none of us are better after we have a drink. So I thought it was really good, no matter what that motivation is. And
That's amazing.
You know, so let's take that and stick to that thread, if you will. What do you think is the best way to begin to manage a change in one's life? What would you tell the listeners is the best way if they, no matter what it is that they want to make better? Where do you start?
Well, the first of all is I always invite people, like, what's your relationship with change? You know, like, how do you feel about the idea of change? And I mean change in your life, not the change in your pocket. Okay, like, you know, like, what's your opinion of change? Like, and most people have a story. You know, they have something in their mind of a very sincere and usually serious at times experience with change, and not always positive. And so we have to recognize if we have a real negative relationship with this idea of change, especially change that we can be the change maker for in our own lives, it's hard to stay the course, so to speak. We see this a lot with health. You know, when we talk about getting healthy or being healthier or more active, like we see that, I mean, listen, we're a couple months off from January 1st. Okay. we look at January, we see it happen all the time. You know, like people are like, you know what? This is the year I get healthy. This is the year I reclaim my health. And we set the bar really high. You know, and it's this idea of going from 0 to 100 in a matter of 24 hours. It's like December 31st, January 1st. You know, I want to run this year. Oh, yeah. What's the distance going to be? Well, I think I'm going to start with 10K. I'm like, 10K? Yeah, you should do that back in high school. It's no problem. I'm like, okay, you graduated like 25 years ago, man. Like,
it would take me that whole 24 hours.
But that's the difference, right? It's like, it's amazing one day, and we believe that everything can change like that. And I think it's an optimistic way to look at change, but we also have to be realistic with change.
Yeah.
And it's usually a compound thing that happens gradually over time. But the nice thing is it is compound, and it can compound in a positive way. Like
Okay. Well,
interest, right? Interest. We like that, don't we? You know?
absolutely. Yeah. Let's take that road for a moment, Dai. Okay. So obviously those things we do consistently, we form habits, right? New habits to replace the old ones. Are there certain habits that you have started these last, 13 years that you wouldn't even think about changing?
Yes. And let me put it this way. You know, there's certain lifestyle habits particularly that just make me feel good. And in a good way. And I think an easy way to sort of also frame this, and I'll share what some of those habits are, is think about things that you do for yourself that you would never regret doing. And what I mean by that is I like to have every day a big healthy salad with some sort of lean protein. Maybe it's some salmon on it. Maybe it's a chicken breast. Maybe it's a little bit of lean steak. Like, it's either way, but it looks like this vegetable medley. And I try to get a rainbow of colors, you know, and literally I have one big salad a day. Every day. And here's the thing. I encourage people that I've connected with. I encourage anybody to do this, because most people need to uptake a little bit more veggies, a little bit more fruit. And if you do it all in one sitting, then just do it all in one sitting. Okay. Like, just get them in. There's so many benefits to it. And I don't need to list them all, because I think most people are aware of them. But the long and short of it is, I've never had anybody message me after eating that big salad saying, "Oh, you know, I had this big salad for lunch today, Dai. I sure regret eating that." You know what I mean? Like, I've never had that. And
It's
That's never happened.
well, it's even like I'm looking out the window today, and it's unfortunately it's not a Saturday for me, but it sure is a beautiful Monday. And but you know, I went up for a 30-minute walk this morning. It's a little cool up here in Vancouver, Canada right now. We don't have snow, but it's cool. You know, it's 50 degrees. But after that 30-minute walk, I feel great. I feel great. You know, I'm ready. I'm present. I'm grounded. I'm ready for the day. But it was just 30 minutes of walking outdoors. I never have anybody that sends me a message after a workout in a day and saying, "You know what I regret doing today? I regret working out today."
Yeah.
You know, again, there's these little things that when we do them, we never feel bad for doing them. We actually feel the opposite.
Yeah.
So true.
You know, I'm a king of excuses too. And I like riding motorcycles. And I told Tanya, you know, it blows my mind the times that I have said, "Hey, I might go ride today," and I didn't. I always regret that I didn't ride. And I have never, even though I've wrecked many of them, I have never got back from riding a motorcycle and say I regretted that day. Ever. But there are times at that first step that I'm like, I won't go ride today. But at the end of that day, I'm always like, golly, I wish I'd rode. You know? Right. Yeah.
Because remember, it's the feeling that you have after completing the task. Like, I always look at Nike, and I think Nike, there's a powerful brand. You know,
right.
Next to the Pope, it's one of the most recognizable brands. Right? Like, it's huge. You guys are the branding experts. You know this better than I do. But here's the thing. You know, their slogan's what?
Just do it. Yeah.
Now that's pretty interesting, right? Because it implies that, hey man, just get off the couch and do it.
Just go do
You
it.
know, but you know what I want people to adopt? And I don't know if Nike will do this, but what if we started saying, I just did it?
I just did it.
You know,
I love it.
but instead of a swoosh, it's a check mark, right? I just did it. Check.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know, like, but it's the celebrating of the activity of actually doing something great for ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
because everybody benefits from that one action. Even though we think I did this for me, it makes me a better person when I'm around my kids. My wife definitely notices me, and my energy is very different. But also, I'm more present in my life by doing certain little things every day. Some of those things include drinking water. I make sure I get at least, I drink almost a gallon of water a day. You know, I make sure I get lots of fruits and veggies. Most of my calories come from that. But I also eat clean. So I'm getting good, healthy, whole foods. I don't eat a lot of sugar. Actually, very, very little of it, with the exception of the sugars I get in natural form and like fructose, like in my fruit.
Right.
I don't drink sugar sweetened beverages. Those are something like it's the surest way to just add empty calories into your body, you know? Like,
Absolutely.
And I'm not here to vilify those things. I think they're a nice treat, but treat it as a treat. You know, it's not
so true.
It's not an everyday thing. And and I can speak from this because I am a recovering person that used to love all that stuff. Okay? All the time, especially at 15, you know. And but those are a couple examples, and then I get a little bit of activity with, and this is what I call movement with purpose. You know, so every day a little bit of movement with purpose. And,
I love it.
Yeah. Simple little things, right? It doesn't take up much of my day, but I do them every day, and I don't even think about it anymore. It's things that I do. It's a lifestyle now. Now, when you get started, believe me, it might be having a checklist, having a to-do list every day, and you work through the list every day. Trust me. Eventually, you'll wake up one morning and you're just going to do those things, and you're going to remember one day, a week or two later, be like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't been doing my list." But it's okay.
You haven't needed it.
You didn't need it, exactly. You
didn't need it.
It's so cool, right?
My grandpa used to say the good habits are just as hard to break as the bad ones.
Yes. Oh my gosh, your grandpa was wise. I love that. That is a great thing.
His grandpa was very wise.
Yes,
So tell us about your 5 F's for that ultimate life.
Well, thank you. The 5S came out of, a lifetime basically of supporting others with change, especially when it came to health. You know, because we all are instruments for our own health. I mean, I would love to find a career where they were like, Dai, we're going to pay you this much every year for you to go do self-care. You know, like I haven't found that position yet, by the way. So if anyone's looking to fill a role, you're going to pay me to look after myself, I'm in. No questions asked. But we need that sort of accountability. You know, we have to recognize that we are the only ones that can actually do the things that help us move forward, at least that healthy needle forward in our own lives. We have to do the actions. And, you know, the biggest thing that I'd like to invite people to consider is, you know, what are the values that help guide your life? Because when you get really clear on what are sort of non-negotiables, like things that you're not willing to compromise on, especially around values, things that you think are important, things that are part of your identity. So for me, I needed a simpler framework, and alliteration, 5 F's was the easiest way to do this. You know, so it's fitness, faith, family, finances with an overarching roof of fun. So yes, 5 F's. And I like to go one step further because I find that we learn and we tend to relate better with metaphors. And so I always like to encourage people, you know, think about yourself as your architect for your life. You design the life that you want. We all do. But like any good architect, when you start to develop or design, say, a home for yourself to live in, your family to live in, but I'm going to speak from an individual standpoint, you need a foundation that's rock solid, you know? And then you can have, you know, and I'm talking kindergarten artwork here. Okay. I'm not a very good artist. So I'm talking about 4 walls, a square basically, and with this triangle roof, right? But if you think about this visual, that's your life. And you're the architect. What are the walls made of? You know, what's the foundation on? What's the overarching roof or theme for that? Because when you start to think about this and you think about the weather of the storms that come at you. So I've got fitness, faith, family, finances, roof of fun on a foundation of health, because health is first. You know, without health, you can't build any kind of life. You know,
right?
Like, I don't need to tell you this. I mean, anybody that's any health problems, you know this already. Like but those F's are very important for me, my family. It's things that allow us to sift through decision-making processes very quickly. I've had lots of opportunities as a speaker to do some extended travel, but that compromises my family value. And so I've also turned down a lot of opportunities because I'm like, no, I'm not willing to travel for a month. being away from my family. I'm not, that's not important to me, So no, it's a no. Thank you, but no.
Right.
And so I make sure I maintain that family piece. And any relationships can last in there. Finances I'm not here to talk about relationships or whatnot, but when I look at the challenges of most people's relationships today, one of the biggest reasons why relationships don't last is based on financial stresses.
So true.
So get financially healthy. Just get responsible. That's it. And listen, I'm okay. I have had a lot of irresponsibility, with my finances. I've made bad investments. Like, listen, I've been on both sides of the fence, but I'll tell you, our relationship, when finances are in a good place, our relationship's in a better place.
Yeah,
it really
for
is.
sure.
And then when you look at fitness, well, if you want to make a change to that foundation of health, the easiest way to reinforce that foundation is fitness. And that's just moving with a little bit of purpose to see that get more solid. And this just means like keeping disease further at bay, right? Also keeps our energy in a better place, helps us manage our sleep better. Like there's all these
our mental health and our mental health, movement is one of the best things in the world for your mental health.
Yeah. Tanya's that person. If she does not get out and do something physical, she is not happy. Like she has to
mental health is off.
She has to get out there and do it. Yeah.
That's powerful. That's like, wow.
And she drags me with her sometimes.
Well, I was going to say, dragging, that's just like that's extra fitness, actually.
It is. I'm working for her. I'm doing this for you, babe. Keep pulling me.
But these 5S, it's fun. I mean, listen, I say overarching for fun because if you're not smiling every day, there's room for improvement.
Amen to that.
Of course.
Yeah.
It is, like, why aren't you smiling more? It's an instant dopamine in the brain when you're smiling, even if you fake it till you make it. Like, just try to put a smile on your face and not feel better.
Right.
It's a pattern interrupt, right? Like, try looking in the mirror when you're really upset and smile at yourself, like rather silly, like almost like the Joker, right? Like you're just smiling at yourself. Eventually it turns into an authentic smile because you can't help but laugh at yourself. Okay. Like,
right.
It is true. So but it's amazing how everything, no matter the biggest of the challenges, how our perspective shifts when we're in a better mental space.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Those are the F's.
Right. Yeah, got to do the F's. So here's your question. If our listeners had the freedom, right, financial and otherwise, to visit anywhere in the world, what place would you recommend them to visit and why?
Okay, I'm biased. So I left a career of 17 years. I quit my career. A month later, my wife quit hers. 2 months after that, we pulled the kids out of school, gave away all our stuff, and we started traveling. And our travels, we just started driving south because we were chasing the sun. Because if you've been in Canada during the winter, you know why. It's like, no, we're going that way. And we just kept going until we got to California, right? And then we hung out with some family. But eventually, we went overseas as a family. And we actually went to Bali, Indonesia.
Oh.
Now, we went for 3 months. That was our commitment. We're going to go. We found a place on Airbnb. We rented it for 3 months. We're like, we're going to go and hang out here because we're slow travelers. We like to go and, just really live amongst the culture. And the peoples and really just experience what it's like to live there. And so after 3 months, we're like, you know what if we just stayed a bit longer? Turned into 2.5 years. So
nice.
But all I gotta say is, you guys ever been to Bali? Have you been to Bali?
No.
Not yet. Okay,
not yet. That's a definite.
Here's the thing: when you go, anybody that goes to Bali, I warn you, because you get there. It's a hard place to leave. Okay. It's really hard to leave. It's beautiful food, wonderful people, great weather. You live on an island and it's chill. But it is just wonderful. Like it's so beautiful. Like, and if you're someone that has the means of generating income online, it's also a very friendly place for that. Yeah, a lot of co-working spaces, great digital nomadic communities there, and expat communities, as well as the locals are very inviting because it obviously props up the economy there. It still is a developing country, but it is one of my favorite places and my happiest places on the planet. And so that would be my recommendation for anybody. If you haven't made it over to that part of the world yet, well, mark it down, make it a goal to get there. But just if you say you're going to go for a week, book 2. Okay, like just book
2.5 years, right?
Well,
love it.
but awesome.
Best answer yet to this
The
question.
best answer yet, I got to say. And how old were the girls when y'all went down?
They would have been 12 and I guess 11 and 13.
That's
11 and 13.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And so we came back to Vancouver, actually. It was all right before the pandemic, actually. Like, I moved back 2 months before the lockdown. My family, they had come back to start the school year in September. I came and joined them in January. And so actually I was there 2.5. They were there for just a little bit over 2. But we came back because the girls wanted to finish high school in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd always said we'll honor that when we were traveling. I didn't actually think they'd ever play the card, to tell you the truth. So I remember the day they said they wanted to go back. I was like, what? Really? What? No.
What?
I'm like, you have to go back to school? What? And yeah, but they wanted to. And here's the cool thing for any parents out there. When your kids are saying, no, I want to go back to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Take them back.
Let them do it.
Take them back.
Yes, because they were motivated and they were very good students. My eldest, she's in her second year of university now, but I'll tell you, the focus that she had going back into school, I was so impressed because I was like, where did you get that? Because I didn't have that. But it was neat because it's a different motivation when they're the ones calling the shot, saying, I want to go to school. I just thought that was so fascinating.
No, it is fascinating, actually. And hey, look, I got to say, just now really getting to know you, it speaks to parenting too, which all of that. And I and Tanya agrees. We have a blended family, but we agree that travel too is the greatest educator. Like,
sure is.
we are travelers. We've been all over the world. They haven't been to Indonesia yet. We're going, but it's just the greatest education to see how other people live and intermix with other cultures and how they do things and the aha moments that come with that. I love it. And being free, our 3D formula is the 3D freedom formula, right? Which is the whole key behind it. So we're not strapped constantly under this, pressure of got to do this and that. And you guys lived it. That's and are living it, no doubt. That's fantastic.
And
That's
underneath
really
that
good.
arch of fun.
Absolutely. Clearly.
Just like Dai.
Clearly. So Dai, tell people, like, if they want to work with you to achieve these things, and obviously the happiness that you live under, what's the best way for them to reach you or connect with you?
The nice thing about having a unique name, and I got to tell you, when my parents gave me the name, this is pre-Google. As I tell my kids, I'm older than Google guys. They still get a kick out of that, right? But when SEO became a thing, I was like, man, my parents were visionaries.
You bet.
If you can type my name into Google the right way, you'll find me. That's the whole thing. Like, Dai is a Welsh name for David. Manuel is a Portuguese last name. And yes, I'm Canadian, so don't worry about it. So, or about it. Don't worry about it. I'm most active on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And it's just my name. And also, I've been blogging since 2007. I'm an OG, and that doesn't mean original gangster. It means old guy. That's been blogging for a long time. And I've got about 1,700 articles on my website, just DaiManuel.com.
Wow, nice.
It's all geared to help people just get out of their own way and experience more happiness in life. That's it. That's it. And because quite frankly, that's all that matters.
It is. Dai, what a magnificent energy you bring. And thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We truly appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
I have to say thank you to both of you, because you probably don't get this that often, because I know how much energy goes into creating what you create, but also to create the space for these conversations to happen, but also for all of us to be flies on the wall, to give it a listen. And I just want to say thank you to both of you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing. I feel remiss that I haven't had an opportunity to dive into a lot of the episodes, but I'm going to remedy that right away. So I can't wait to get on there and just thank you for welcoming me here today with such open arms. It's been just a lovely experience.
So kind of you.
Awesome.
Thank you again, Dai.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, listeners, hey, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button. We're going to bring you more Dai, and we'll definitely have you back on at some point to continue this conversation. And thank you for your time, sir. Yep.
Thank you both.
Hey, it's all about prosperity, and we know here that prosperity favors the bold. So be bold like Dai.
Be bold.
Go somewhere for 2.5 years, and then come back. And thank you, Miss Tanya. We appreciate you guys.
Brought to you by BrandFace, the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe.